Welcome to Melrose Unitarian Universalist Church. Our service today is called All Souls Sunday. So, good morning. I am the Reverend Dr. Suzanne Intriligator, the minister of this congregation, and I'm so glad to see so many people here today on this gorgeous, crisp, sunny fall morning. Thanks for joining us, and hello to the people on Zoom. My pronouns are she and hers, and we are a church of open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. All who share our values are welcome to join with us and worship with us this morning. As usual, it's a busy time here at church. 2 new social justice ministry teams have formed in the last few weeks, and they have created proposals for us all to consider. Congratulations to those teams. It's amazing and exciting that so many people, I think 20 or 25 at last count, have organized themselves and committed themselves to doing important work on behalf of our congregation, and they deserve our gratitude. Next Sunday, November 19th, those 2 teams are going to come here, and in place of the sermon, they are going to be giving presentations about what they aim to do in the next year or so on behalf of the congregation. And then after that, we will have an opportunity to ask them questions, and then we as a congregation will vote to affirm their ministries on behalf of our church. So it's an important Sunday, and I hope you'll be here. As you may know, Eric and Barbara Lambiaso are now organizing our alternative holiday fair. That'll happen. Yay! I heard that. Hooray for Eric and Barbara, and hooray for the alternative fair. It's a holiday tradition here. It happens at the same time as Home for the Holidays, or the whole town comes out. And so it's a great event for us. And it's not a fundraising event. We do it actually to help out not-for-profit organizations that come here and sell their goods. So it's kind of a social justice ministry that we do. So that's happening December 2nd. Eric and Barbara are hoping they'll get a few more volunteers, so please see them if you have that day available. They're also looking for donations for the White Elephant Table that will raise money for the Immigrant Support Alliance. So please reach out to them if you need more info. This coming week, there'll be another meeting of the Spirituality and Dying class on Wednesday night in the parlor. Please join in. You don't have to have gone to the first one. Also, next Sunday, we'll have a drop-in covenant group after worship around noon in the library. Covenant groups are generally closed, but this one we're doing it as an experiment that you can drop in when you like and delve deeper into the spiritual topics that we explore in worship. Everyone is welcome to do that, and if you are planning ahead, you could send me an email and I could send you the questions if you want to prepare beforehand, but it's not compulsory. So let's see, what else do we want to say? Today is our annual All Souls Sunday, when we remember those who have gone before. If you brought with you a memory, a photo, or a memento to share, there will be time to do that later in the service. And if you haven't brought anything, that's fine too. You will have plenty of space to remember and to share. There will be a time to share in 2 different ways. First, we'll have a time of quiet music when people are encouraged to come forward silently and light a candle or 2 in memory of somebody special in your life. And then after that, there will be a spoken time. If you've brought something you'd like to speak about, you can come forward and speak here on the microphone. And people at Zoom will have a way to participate as well. So everyone can take part in that. We have many different kinds of beliefs about death and dying, and all of them are welcome here today, as are all of your feelings about those who have gone. Some people are loved and missed dearly. Others are remembered from more of a distance, with mixed feelings perhaps, and that is just fine too. All of us are processing all of our losses all the time, and what's important is to be honest about your feelings with yourself. It'll help you process and let go. I want to say thank you to today's our helpers, and our usher, Michael O'Connor. Thank you, Michael. Our greeter, Nancy Nichols, and our coffee hosts, Mary Hildebrand and Elsa Mendez-Quaj. Thank you so much for your help. Now it's time to welcome each other into the worship service. Turn around if you're on the front, wave, say hi, hugs, handshakes. Let people know what you're comfortable with. Hi, folks on Zoom. Are you up there on the screen? You are. Hi, Zoom folks. Good to see you this morning. Happy Sunday. Oh, it's a nice crowd this morning. Good morning, good morning. I want to call us to worship this morning with these words on our ancestors from the Reverend Kathleen McTeague. She writes, "In the struggles we choose for ourselves, in the ways we move forward our lives, and the way we bring our world forward with us, it is right to remember the names of those who gave us strength in this choice of living. It is right to name the power of hard lives well lived. We share a history with those lives. We belong to the same motion. They too were strengthened by what had gone before. They too were drawn on by the vision of what might yet come to be. Those who lived before us, who struggled for justice and suffered injustice before us, have not melted into the dust. They have not disappeared. They are with us still. The lives they lived hold us steady. Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own. We, the living, carry them with us. We are their voices, their hands, and their hearts. We take them with us, and with them we choose the deeper path of living." Amen. Now we light the symbol of our faith, the flaming chalice. I call forward this year's fellowship chair, Eric Lambiaso, to light it and lead us in our covenant. Thank you, Eric.
I invite you now to rise in body or in spirit and join me in the words of the covenant, which you can see on the screen.
Love is the doctrine of this church.
The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. This is our great covenant, one with another and with our God.
And if you would please remain standing and join in the opening hymn, which is number 336 in the gray hymnal. The lyrics will appear here on the screen. Thank you, choir, for leading us. Thank you. You may be seated. Our story today is called "The 10th Good Thing About Barney" by Judith Vorst, illustrated by Eric Blagvard. My cat Barney died last Friday. I was very sad. I cried and I didn't watch television. I cried and I didn't eat my chicken or even the chocolate pudding. I went to bed and I cried. My mother sat down on my bed and she gave me a hug. She said we could have a funeral for Barney in the morning. She said I should think of 10 good things about Barney so I could tell them at the funeral. I thought and I thought and I thought of good things about Barney. I thought of 9 good things. Then I fell asleep. In the morning, Mother wrapped Barney in a yellow scarf. My father buried Barney in the ground by a tree in the yard. Annie, my friend from next door, came over with flowers, and I told good things about Barney. Barney was brave, I said, and smart and funny and clean and cuddly and also handsome, and he only once ate a bird. It was sweet, I said, to hear him purr in my ear, and sometimes he slept on my belly and kept it warm. Those are all good things, said my mother, but I just count 9. I said I would try to think of another one later. At the end of the funeral, we sang a song for Barney. We couldn't remember any cat songs, so we sang one about a pussy willow. Even my father knew the words. Then Annie and I went into the kitchen with Mother. She gave us orangeade and butter cookies, and she left the box on the table so we could have seconds. I gave my seconds to Annie. I miss Barney, I said. Annie said Barney was in heaven with lots of cats and angels, drinking cream and eating cans of tuna. I said Barney was in the ground. Heaven, said Annie. Heaven. So there. The ground, I told her. You don't know anything. My father came in from the yard and took a cookie. Big-mouthed Annie said heaven again. I said ground. Tell her who's right, I asked Father. She doesn't know anything. Maybe Barney's in heaven, my father began. Aha, said Annie, and stuck out her tongue at me. And maybe, said my father, Barney isn't. What did I tell you, I said, and I yanked Annie's braid. Father made me let go. We don't know too much about heaven, he told Annie. We can't be absolutely sure that it's there. But if it is there, said Annie in her absolutely sure voice, it's bound to have room for Barney and tuna and cream. She finished another cookie and went back home. My father told me he had to work in the garden. I said that I would help, but only a little. I told him I didn't like it that Barney was dead. He said, "Why should I like it? It's sad," he said. He told me that it might not feel so sad tomorrow. My father had a packet of little brown seeds. He shook some out in his hand. The ground will give them food and a place to live, he said. And soon they'll grow a stem and some leaves and flowers. I squeezed the packet open and looked down the bottom. I told him, I don't see any leaves. I don't see any flowers. Things change in the ground, said my father. In the ground, everything changes. Will Barney change too? I asked him. Oh, yes, said my father. He'll change until he's part of the ground in the garden. And then I asked, will he help make flowers and leaves? He will, said my father. He'll help grow the flowers, and he'll help grow that tree and some grass. You know, he said, that's a pretty nice job for a cat. My father and I planted all of the seeds in the garden. Mother made sandwiches, and we ate them under the tree. After lunch, we worked in the garden some more. At night, I still didn't want to watch any television. When I turned out the light, my mother sat down on my bed. She gave me a hug, and I said I had something to tell her. Listen, I said, and I told all the good things about Barney. Barney was brave, I said, and smart and funny and clean and cuddly and handsome, and he only once ate a bird. It was sweet, I said, to hear him purr in my ear, and sometimes he slept on my belly and kept it warm. Those are all the good things, said my mother, but I still count just 9. Yes, I said, but now I have another. Barney is in the ground, and he's helping grow flowers. You know, I said, that's a pretty nice job for a cat. The end. Thank you for your good listening. It's time to go down to your RE class. Every Sunday in the center of our service, we take some quiet time to breathe in and out, to be with one another, to ground ourselves again in our deepest values, our own particular sense of the holy. Let's begin this time by closing our eyes and breathing deeply. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your body relaxing and sinking into your seat. Breathe deeply. In this meditation time, first we'll join together in our centering song. Then we sit for a few minutes of shared quiet. Then we speak to one another of our joys and sorrows. And then I will lead us in a prayer. For our centering song today and for the month of November, when our theme is generosity, our centering song is Make Channels for the Streams of Love. It's $2.99 in the gray hymnal, but the lyrics will appear here on the screen. Join in as you like, remain seated, and let the song gently guide you into our time of shared quiet. It is our tradition here in worship to share with one another the joys and sorrows of our lives, the personal milestones of our journeys. We share with one another in the hope that this sharing might weave us further into an ever stronger community and also help us get to know one another better. I invite the people who are on Zoom to go ahead, if you have a sorrow to share today, to type it into the chat box. And anyone in the room who has a sorrow to share, please come forward, speak into the mic so that everyone can hear you and see you. All right, Michael, would you go ahead, please, and light the other candle? For all the joys that remain unspoken, let the candle be a reminder to all of us to feel and show our gratitude for all the many, many blessings in our lives. Thank you, Michael. Please join me, if you would, in the spirit of prayer. We have many worries and concerns in our lives, from our personal sorrows to our shared grief over the war in the Middle East, as Beth mentioned. And we have so many joys as well as we receive and honor the bounty of life. We lift them all up this morning in the spirit of prayer. May we find in this time and place the peace and strength we need to move forward and to live wholeheartedly. Today, as we celebrate All Souls, I share these words from the Reverend Elizabeth Tarbox, who served congregations in Middleborough and Cohasset, Massachusetts. You will hear these same words echoed again in our choir anthem a little later on in the service. Reverend Tarbox writes, "I thought I heard the voice of spirit cry, 'Come and find me. You won't have to look hard. Come to where the ocean touches the shore. Find me in the bright light promise of morning on the waves. Look carefully at the bubbles breaking on the wet sand. There I am. Turn over the glistening rock, slippery with its cushion of seaweed. Here I am. Hear the gulls crying, news of the endless ocean. That is my news, my voice. Lie with me in the tall green marsh grass. See my footprints in the sand you have walked upon. Do not say I am lost, for you have found me. I am here." Amen.
Now is the time for our offertory. Our church is a self-supporting organization funded by your generous annual pledge. You may also contribute to our weekly collection plate, which we split every month with a deserving cause. Folks on Zoom can donate either way using the orange button at the top right corner of our homepage at melroseuu.org. For the month of November, this church will be giving half our collection plate to one of Reggie's favorite causes, the Living Legacy Project. Started and run by UUs, the Living Legacy Project conducts pilgrimages to the important sites in the American civil rights movement, as well as online programs about voting rights and racism. Its mission is to provide experiential education that inspires and equips people from diverse backgrounds and identities to do justice work. For our offertory music today, the choir has been working on this piece created especially for All Souls Sunday. The words are by the UU minister, Reverend Elizabeth Tarbox, and the music by the UU composer, Jason Shelton. This is "Come and Find Me."
Come
Now I want to invite you into our annual ritual for All Souls Sunday. First, I invite people who want to light a candle silently without speaking to come forward and do so. Each candle honors a person that you are remembering today. We have many. You might light one or two if you like. Folks on Zoom can type candle into the chat box, and our usher Michael and I will light a candle for you here. Later on, after this part of the service, you'll be invited to come forward and share and speak if you like. But this first portion is without speaking, just with beautiful music and candlelight. So I invite people to come forward now. Tom, if you'd please play for us. You can light here too. Michael. Can we have 2 more candles, please, from the people on Zoom? Thank you. Yeah. Thanks, Tom. And now I want to invite forward anyone who would like to speak about someone who has passed. If you want to bring forward a photo or a memento and speak about it, I'd ask you to stand here at that microphone. And this includes the people on Zoom. If you just type "speak" into the chat box, Bill will find you and line you up, and you can speak here on the screen if you like, or you could type something in that you'd like me to read. You can do either of those things. Usually there's lots of people who want to speak. Come forward, go ahead. We've got some spare room here on the table for photos. I would like to actually start our speaking this morning. Generally, I like us to start with members of the congregation who have passed in the last year. So I'd invite us to take a moment and remember Margaret Gromitstein. Margaret was a member here for more than 60 years, and she contributed to the church in just about every way possible, served on every committee, founded the Quilters. Her husband served as the president, and Margaret also remembered us in her will, gave us a very generous gift. I invite you to remember Margaret with fondness. Michael, would you light one of the candles? Maybe this one here for Margaret. She is a beloved ancestor and someone who will be remembered here for a long, long time. Thank you. And maybe I'll light candles for people as they come forward if you like. Just let me know. Jeannie, would you come speak at the microphone? You could help me. There's spare ones here. Thank you. Maybe, Michael, could you help Jeannie? Maybe take it out of there and we'll just pass it down. Pass it around. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jeannie Harris, and I just brought a picture of my family from 2003 when we were all together, our last big family reunion, and since then I've lost my mom, my dad, and this past spring my sister Betty Ann. So I guess it's more for my sister today because it was so recent and still so sad and painful, but at the same time, she's with her daughter and her husband and my parents. So.
Jeannie, you want to come and put the photo here? There's some space on the table here, thanks.
Hi, I'm Kathy Sang. Some of you probably remember last year that Reverend Tom Owenthal was a guest speaker twice. His wife, Reverend Carolyn Owenthal, died suddenly a few weeks ago. She was my mentor, my friend. She guided me to UUism, and it's just a huge, huge loss for myself and certainly in San Diego for the UU community and the community at large. She was an amazing woman.
Thank you. Put it here on the table. Thank you.
My name's Liz Tishoni. I brought a picture of my mom, Ruth. She passed away on June 2nd. I made these for my children. Mom wore, these are her iconic LL Bean corduroy tunics. She had about 8 of them. Mom was tiny, but spicy, very spicy and very bold and fearless. And I'm very heartbroken to be navigating life without her. But in sort of a beautiful twist, just quickly, she and my dad went on a trip to Rockport in April, not knowing it would be their last date. Rockport is where they fell in love. And they met a really beautiful couple on Bearskin Neck who offered to take a photo of them. And I think it's Susan and Lee Danielson who are here today. And my dad, my parents said they wish they had met you earlier in life because they knew they would be dear friends. And my entire family is appreciative of your friendship. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz.
Hi, I'm lighting a candle for both of my parents. My father died in 2020 and my mother in 2017. And I was very, very close to them. And I wanted to honor them by coming up to speak about them. So I miss them still.
This is my mother, Joanna Starr Griscom. She passed in 2010. This is my father, Nathan Thorne Griscom, who passed in 2019. They gave me my sense of honor, my sense of humor, and many other good things.
I think there's still some space over here, Dan.
This is in remembrance of my sister Denny, who passed very suddenly in a pulmonary embolism back in 2016. And my father, this is the last picture I could find of all of us together. And at the time, my father was already far along in Alzheimer's disease, and yet he really felt, he really understood what was going on for my sister and felt it deeply. And I think it was sort of the last time that he really was able to connect emotionally and understand what was going on in his world. So he passed 6 months later. I miss them both.
Today I'm remembering especially my father and my youngest brother, youngest of 9. He died tragically at 21 years of age, 30 years in college. And 6 weeks later, my father died of heartbroken because he's dead. So that was very hard for us, especially for me that I was away from Colombia. My brother, at such an early age of 21, he touched the lives of all our clan family, big family, and all his friends. He was such an example of justice, brotherly love. He loved not only humans, but all the creatures. Since he was little, he couldn't stand to kill an ant or any insect. He was defending life. He became vegetarian at a very early age, different than the rest of us as a family. He fought for social justice. During his years of high school, he was a leader on that, and in college. And he just was such a teacher in so many ways to all our family. So we have been able to get over his loss, but we miss him dearly. Very special human being.
My name's Brian. Let's see. I've got a jar of these galls that I found in the woods, and they are in memory of my parents. They taught me a love of nature, and they were just such wonderful people. This year they're together, and it is in a jar that is recycled. It's a great recycle.
Thank you. This is John Postel. Michael, I'm a double dipper. I did the silent candles too. But thank you very much, Rendell, and I thank you for your kind words about Margaret and Alan. Obviously, there was one of the candles for them, one for my parents as well. But the one I want to speak to really is we lost 2 dear friends from Star Island this past year over long illnesses. They are 2 people that welcomed us to separate. They weren't married or anything, they were just friends. But they welcomed us, Ted Crawford and Gail Henry. They welcomed us when we felt unsure and not knowing if this was the place for us, and they really brought us in and made us feel like family, and we miss them.
Hi, my name is Beth. This is my husband, Kelly. About a generation ago, we were new to Melrose and lived in a house that needed a lot of work. And had 2 jobs and 2 very young kids. And my father came to visit, and he did everything he could to be useful, including painting about 50 feet of white picket fence from the back and all the little surfaces. And then he said, in these 20 feet, he said, I think you should I'm going to plant zinnias for you. And I particularly like state fair zinnias, which aren't available at any garden shop around here. So he did, and we've planted them every year. And they mean more and more. I mean, he gave me so much. So this year they bloomed until November 2nd. Of course, they're usually much larger, but little ones were trying to come. And so I cut it November 2nd. And,
Hello, my name is Joe Roman, and I brought a picture of my younger brother, Edward, who died about 3.5 years ago. We were the best of friends. We talked every week. We went to lunch every couple of weeks. We were both lawyers. We had a lot in common. He loved nature. He loved to be outdoors. He had a wonderful house in Maine. He enjoyed sailing. He used his sailing skills to run a sailing program in the city of Boston for inner city kids. He taught them as much as he could about sailing, and he had a wonderful time doing that. I still to this day miss him very much. I miss talking to him and just discussing all of the current events. I turned him from a conservative to a liberal, and and amazingly enough, and I still miss those wonderful conversations that we had. Thank you.
I'm Laura, and I'm remembering today my dad, who passed away. It'll be 30 years this January since he died. And recently we've been clearing out my family home and getting it ready to sell, so a lot of memories have come up, a lot of good memories.
I'm Carol Nestor, and I brought a picture of my mother, the only one I could find, on her wedding day. And now I realize it's too light for you to see, but if you come up, you'll see it. 1936. My mother took care of all of us for all her married life. She took care of me during the war when my father was away. Then she became an army wife and did what she needed to do, kind of like pack up every year and move. She was always good-natured about it. All of us miss her.
Thank you, Carol. I just want to check from the people on Zoom, let you know who they're remembering today. My husband, James, asked for a candle for my father, Mike. We miss him. From Cheryl Ringen, a candle for my dad, John Sarno. I miss him very much. Liz Folzer says, please remember our former music director, John Montanus. And my sister Camille says, a candle for my father, whom I miss every day. Thank you so much, Michael. I'd like to wrap up this time of sharing with a beautiful reading from the Reverend Mark Morrison Reed. We are all dying. Our lives always moving toward completion. We need to learn to live with death and to understand that death is not the worst of all events. We need to fear not death, but life, empty lives, loveless lives, lives that do not build upon the gifts that each of us have been given, lives which we never take the time to savor and appreciate, lives in which we never pause to breathe deeply. What we need to fear is not death, but squandering the lives we have been so miraculously given. So let me die laughing, savoring one of life's crazy moments. Let me die holding the hand of the one I love and recalling that I tried to love and be loved in return. Let me die remembering that life has been good, that I did what I could. But today, just remind me that I am dying so that I can live, savor, and love with all my heart. Amen. Let's end our service today with a really traditional hymn. It's number 103, and the gray hymnal lyrics will appear here on the screen. It's for all the saints. Please rise, if you will, and join the choir in me. Thank you. Please remain standing for a moment and join with me in our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please be seated. Thank you so much for your beautiful sharing this morning. Thank you for joining us for worship. Please enjoy a lovely postlude from Tom and his friend, Eric. Thank you, Eric. Welcome very much. Oh, can you turn on Tom's mic, please,
Yeah.
Bill?
Thanks.
He's got it.
Before we go, I'd just like to say thank you to my wonderful choir today. We had 14 people show up, and they sounded great today. And also, I would like to thank my friends Ida Pappas, who joined the choir today, and her husband, Eric Byers, who's joined the choir and is going to play with me today. So thank you all, and enjoy.
And join us afterward, please, in Parish Hall for refreshments if you like. Happy Sunday.